Dinosaurs, the beginning. The story of these magnificent creatures starts in a time so distant it's almost impossible to fathom. Imagine a world untouched by human hands, a world where nature reigned supreme, and the air was filled with the sounds of ancient life. Hey there, fellow fossil fanatics! Are you ready to embark on an incredible journey through time? Today, we're diving deep into the prehistoric era, a time when the Earth was a very different place. Today, we're going back in time, way back, to the very beginning of the dinosaurs. Picture the Earth as it was millions of years ago, a planet in its infancy, constantly changing and evolving. The land masses were shifting, the climate was fluctuating, and life was just beginning to take hold in new and exciting ways. Can you imagine a world without giant dinosaurs stomping around? It's almost unthinkable, isn't it? But there was indeed a time when these colossal creatures were nowhere to be found. The Earth was a barren, desolate place waiting for the dawn of the dinosaurs. It's hard to believe, right? The idea of a world without dinosaurs seems almost like a fantasy, but it's true. There was a time when the Earth was devoid of these incredible beings, and life was just beginning to find its way. But there was a time when these magnificent creatures first appeared on Earth. These early dinosaurs were small, almost unnoticeable, but they were the pioneers of a new era. Their footprints in the mud marked the beginning of a journey that would span millions of years. Their story is one of evolution, adaptation, and eventual domination of the planet. From these humble beginnings, dinosaurs evolved into a diverse array of species, each uniquely adapted to their environment. They became the rulers of the Earth, dominating the land, sea, and air. It's a story that spans millions of years, and it all starts with a few unassuming creatures taking their first steps on a very different Earth. These early dinosaurs were the trailblazers, setting the stage for the incredible diversity of life that would follow. We're going to dig deep into the Triassic period, a time when the continents were still forming and the air was thick with the promise of change. This was a period of great transformation, where the foundations of the modern world were being laid. We'll meet the very first dinosaurs, small and scrappy creatures that would eventually give rise to the giants we all know and love. These early dinosaurs were the pioneers, the first to explore new territories and adapt to new challenges. So buckle up, dinosaur enthusiasts. We're about to embark on an epic adventure through time, exploring the origins of these magnificent creatures and uncovering the secrets of their incredible journey. Get ready for a journey back to the dawn of the dinosaurs. This is a story of survival, adaptation, and the relentless march of evolution. It's a tale that will take us from the earliest days of the Earth to the rise of the mighty dinosaurs. So let's dive in and discover the incredible world of the dinosaurs. Picture this. It's the Triassic period, roughly 252 to 201 million years ago. The Earth was a very different place back then, a world that would be almost unrecognizable to us today. Imagine a planet where the air was thick with humidity and the land was covered in dense forests and vast deserts. The climate was much warmer, and the atmosphere was rich with carbon dioxide, creating a greenhouse effect that kept temperatures high. Our planet looked vastly different. There were no polar ice caps, and the sea levels were much higher. The landscape was dominated by towering conifer trees, ferns, and cycads, creating a lush green world teeming with life. The continents were all clumped together in a giant landmass called Pangaea, surrounded by a giant ocean called Panthalassa. This supercontinent stretched from the northern to the southern poles, and its interior was a vast, arid desert. The coastlines, however, were lush and fertile, providing the perfect environment for life to thrive. Now, where did our dinosaur story begin? It all started in the late Triassic period, around 230 million years ago. This was a time of great change, as the Earth's climate began to shift and new ecosystems emerged. It all went down in a region that would eventually become part of South America. This area was part of the southern portion of Pangaea, known as Gondwana. It was a land of extremes, with vast deserts, lush forests, and active volcanoes. This area, teeming with life, was where the very first dinosaurs evolved. These early dinosaurs were small, bipedal creatures, no larger than a modern-day dog. They were agile and fast, able to navigate the dense underbrush and escape from predators. Imagine lush forests, rivers flowing through vast plains, and volcanoes rumbling in the distance. The air was filled with the sounds of insects and the calls of primitive reptiles. It was a vibrant, dynamic world, full of life and energy, It was a world ripe for the taking, and a group of reptiles called archosaurs were about to seize the opportunity. These archosaurs were the ancestors of dinosaurs, and they were perfectly adapted to the changing environment. With their strong limbs and sharp teeth, they quickly became the dominant predators of their time, setting the stage for the rise of the dinosaurs. The Triassic period was a time of dramatic change. After a massive extinction event wiped out most life on Earth, the planet was warming up. The climate was hot and dry, with vast deserts stretching across the land. But life, as always, found a way. The hot, arid conditions favored reptiles, and among them, a group called archosaurs thrived. These ruling reptiles were perfectly adapted to the changing world and would eventually give rise to dinosaurs. The Triassic climate, though harsh, played a crucial role in the rise of the dinosaurs. It was a time of opportunity, and these early dinosaurs were ready to take advantage of it. Now, before we dive into the first dinosaurs, we need to talk about their ancestors, the archosaurs. Think of them as the proto-dinosaurs, the group from which the dinosaurs evolved. These archosaurs were a diverse bunch. Some were small and agile, darting through the undergrowth, while others grew to be large and powerful predators. They ruled the Triassic world, and amongst them, a special lineage began to emerge. These were the dinosaurs, distinguished by unique features like their upright posture and hip structure, which allowed them to move more efficiently than their archosaur cousins. Section 5. Enter the dinosaurs, introducing the first ones. Now, for the stars of the show, the first dinosaurs. These pioneers were quite different from the giants we often envision. They were smaller, likely covered in feathers, and full of surprises. Imagine creatures no bigger than dogs or small horses darting through the undergrowth. These early dinosaurs were just beginning to evolve, but they possessed the potential that would one day lead to the titans of the Mesozoic Era. Let's meet a few of these trailblazers, shall we? Section 6. Dinosaurus, Small Beginnings, Giant Legacy. One of the earliest known dinosaurs, and perhaps the very first, is Dinosaurus. This little guy lived around 243 million years ago in what is now Tanzania. Now, Dinosaurus wasn't very big, probably about the size of a Labrador retriever. But what makes it special is its age and its bone structure. Fossil evidence suggests that Dinosaurus walked upright on two legs, a hallmark of dinosaurs. Though we don't have a complete skeleton, Dinosaurus gives us a glimpse into the humble beginnings of the dinosaur lineage. It shows us that even the mightiest creatures start small. Section 7. Eoraptor, the Dawn Hunter. Another early dinosaur superstar is Eoraptor, meaning dawn thief. This agile little carnivore lived about 231 million years ago in what is now Argentina. Eoraptor was also small, about the size of a German shepherd, and likely covered in feathers. It was a swift runner and a skilled hunter, using its sharp teeth and claws to catch small prey. What makes Eoraptor fascinating is that it represents an early stage in dinosaur evolution, before they branched into the diverse forms we know today. It's like a snapshot of evolution in action. Section 8. Herrerasaurus, an early apex predator. Finally, we have Herrerasaurus, a larger and more formidable early dinosaur. This fierce predator lived around 231 million years ago, alongside Eoraptor in what is now Argentina. Herrerasaurus was significantly bigger than our previous contenders, reaching lengths of up to 6 meters, or 20 feet. It was a powerful hunter, equipped with strong legs, sharp claws, and teeth designed for slicing flesh. This impressive predator gives us a glimpse into the early evolution of carnivorous dinosaurs, showcasing their potential for size and dominance even in the Triassic period. Section 9. The Legacy of the First Dinosaurs. The first dinosaurs, though small and seemingly insignificant compared to their later relatives, were pioneers. These early creatures, often no larger than a modern-day dog, were the trailblazers of their time. They roamed the Earth during the late Triassic period, around 230 million years ago, in a world vastly different from today. They were the first to walk the path that would lead to giants like Tyrannosaurus Rex and Brachiosaurus. These small dinosaurs, such as Eoraptor and Herrerasaurus, were agile and quick, adapting to their environment with remarkable efficiency. Their ability to survive and thrive in a competitive ecosystem set the stage for the colossal dinosaurs that would dominate the Jurassic and Cretaceous periods. These early dinosaurs paved the way for one of the most successful groups of animals to ever walk the Earth. Their evolutionary innovations, such as bipedal locomotion and specialized teeth, allowed them to exploit new ecological niches. This adaptability was key to their success and eventual dominance. Their emergence marks a pivotal moment in life's history, a testament to the power of adaptation and evolution. The rise of these early dinosaurs coincided with significant changes in the Earth's climate and geography, which they navigated with incredible resilience. Their story is a reminder of the dynamic and ever-changing nature of life on our planet. So, next time you think of dinosaurs, remember their humble beginnings. Think of the small, scrappy creatures that dared to venture into a new world, facing countless challenges and uncertainties. Their journey from small, unassuming reptiles to the majestic giants of the Mesozoic Era is nothing short of extraordinary. Remember the small, scrappy creatures that dared to venture into a new world and, in doing so, changed the course of life on Earth forever. Their legacy is a powerful testament to the enduring spirit of life and the incredible potential for change and growth in the face of adversity. The first rays of sunlight began to filter through the dense jungle canopy, casting long shadows and illuminating the forest floor with a golden hue. Piercing through the dense canopy, the sunlight heralded the beginning of a new day. The jungle, with its thick vegetation and towering trees, came alive with the morning light. From his slumber, the T-Rex stirred. His massive form, hidden among the foliage, began to move. The king of the jungle was waking up. He was the king, the apex predator. His name was Rex. Rex opened his eyes, which gleamed with a fierce intensity. They were like fiery orbs, burning with the primal instinct of survival and dominance. He let out a mighty yawn, a sound that echoed through the jungle, signaling his awakening to all creatures nearby. A tremor ran through the earth as if the very ground acknowledged the presence of its ruler. The Jurassic period was a dangerous time. Only the strong survived in this harsh and unforgiving environment. Rex was the strongest of them all. His sheer size and power made him a force to be reckoned with. The air was thick with the scent of conifer trees and damp earth, a reminder of the ancient world he inhabited. Giant ferns and cycads carpeted the landscape, their lush greenery providing both shelter and sustenance for the creatures of this era. The prehistoric world was alive with sounds. The calls of distant creatures, the rustling of leaves, and the occasional roar of a predator filled the air. In the distance, a herd of sauropods lumbered by, their massive forms shaking the ground with each step. Rex was hungry. He needed to hunt. His stomach growled, a reminder of the primal need that drove him. He rose to his feet, his massive frame towering over the vegetation. The jungle seemed to hold its breath in anticipation, his massive muscles rippling beneath his scaly hide, each movement a testament to his strength and power. It was time to rule the day. Rex, the undisputed king of the jungle, was ready to assert his dominance once more. Rex stomped through the jungle. His footsteps were like thunder. He was a force of nature. He was on the lookout for prey. His sharp senses scanned the environment. He waded through ancient swamps. Giant dragonflies buzzed around him. Pterosaurs soared overhead, their shadows falling on the water. Rex paid them no mind. He was focused on his next meal. The jungle opened up into a vast plain. Herds of herbivores grazed peacefully. There were Stegosaurus with their plated backs and Triceratops with their horns. Rex licked his lips. He was spoilt for choice. But Rex was a strategic hunter. He wouldn't attack just yet. He would observe. He would wait for the perfect moment. Patience was key. Rex spotted his target, a lone Triceratops separated from its herd. It was a formidable opponent, but Rex was confident. He was the king for a reason. He crouched low, hidden in the tall ferns. His eyes never left the Triceratops. He was a master of stealth. He waited for the right moment to strike. Then, with a burst of speed, Rex charged. He was a blur of teeth and muscle. The ground trembled beneath his feet. The Triceratops saw him coming and turned to face its attacker. The two titans clashed. The sound of their collision echoed across the plain. It was a battle for survival, a true test of strength. The Triceratops was a worthy opponent. Its horns were like spears. It swung its massive head with surprising speed. Rex had to be careful. One wrong move and he could be seriously injured. He dodged and weaved, avoiding the Triceratops' horns. He roared, a sound that shook the very heavens. He bit down on the Triceratops' flank, his teeth sinking into its flesh. The Triceratops bellowed in pain and fought back with all its might. It managed to toss Rex aside, sending him crashing into a tree. Rex shook his head, stunned but not defeated. He needed a new plan. The Triceratops was strong, but Rex was smarter. He would use his cunning to outwit his prey. Section 5. A Mighty Roar. Rex rose to his feet, his eyes burning with renewed determination. He circled the Triceratops, looking for an opening. He roared again, trying to intimidate his opponent. The Triceratops stood its ground. It was a battle of wills, but Rex was relentless. He charged again, this time aiming for the Triceratops' legs. He slammed into the Triceratops with the force of a battering ram. The Triceratops stumbled and fell. Rex saw his chance. He moved in for the kill. With a final triumphant roar, Rex sank his teeth into the Triceratops' neck, crushing its windpipe. The Triceratops went limp, its life extinguished. Rex had won. Section 6. Unexpected Encounter. Rex feasted on his kill. The jungle around him was alive with the sounds of other creatures, but none dared to approach. His powerful jaws tore through flesh and bone with ease, each bite a testament to his dominance. He ate until he could eat no more. His hunger was insatiable, but even a king must rest. The carcass lay in pieces, a grim reminder of the hunt that had taken place. He was the king, and he had earned his meal. His territory was vast, and he ruled it with an iron claw. No other creature dared to challenge him, for they knew the consequences. As he ate, he caught a scent on the wind. It was unfamiliar. His nostrils flared as he tried to identify it. The scent was strong, and it carried a sense of urgency. He lifted his head and sniffed the air. The scent was getting closer, and it was unlike anything he had encountered before. His instincts told him to be cautious. The scent was getting stronger. It was a mix of familiarity and the unknown, a combination that put him on edge. His muscles tensed as he prepared for whatever was approaching. It was another T-Rex, a female. She moved with a grace that belied her size, her eyes locked onto Rex. She was a formidable presence, and her approach was deliberate. She was large, almost as large as Rex himself. Her scales glistened in the dappled sunlight, and her muscles rippled with each step. She was a sight to behold, a queen in her own right. She approached cautiously, her eyes fixed on Rex. There was a tension in the air, a silent communication between the two titans. Each step she took was measured, her gaze never wavering. She was wary, but she was also curious. Her nostrils flared as she took in his scent, trying to determine his intentions. There was a spark of recognition in her eyes, a hint of something more. Rex watched her, his muscles tensed. He was ready for anything, his instincts on high alert. He knew that this encounter could go either way, and he was prepared for both outcomes. He wasn't sure if she was a threat or a potential mate. The line between the two was thin, and he had to tread carefully. His eyes never left hers, watching for any sign of aggression. He let out a low growl, a warning. It was a sound that conveyed both power and caution. He wanted her to know that he was not to be trifled with, but he was also open to the possibility of something more. He wouldn't back down from a fight, even with a female. His territory was his, and he would defend it with his life if necessary. The jungle held its breath, waiting to see what would happen next. Section 7. The Spoils of Victory. In the heart of the prehistoric jungle, as the sun dipped below the horizon, the air was thick with tension and the scent of fresh kill. The female T-Rex approached the carcass. She was hungry. Her eyes were fixed on the lifeless body of the Triceratops, a prize that promised to satiate her hunger. Each step she took was cautious, her senses on high alert. Rex watched her, his tail twitching. He had been the one to bring down the massive beast, and now he observed the intruder with a mix of curiosity and caution. His eyes narrowed as he gauged her intentions. He could easily scare her away, but something stopped him. Perhaps it was the way she moved, or the desperation in her eyes. He hesitated, a rare moment of contemplation for the mighty predator. He decided to share his kill. It was an unusual decision, driven by an instinct he didn't fully understand. The jungle was a harsh place, and survival often meant fighting for every scrap of food. It was a gesture of dominance, but also a gesture of peace. By allowing her to feed, He was asserting his control over the situation, yet also extending an olive branch in the form of shared sustenance. The female seemed to understand. She approached slowly, her eyes never leaving his. There was a silent communication between them, an understanding that went beyond mere survival. She began to eat, tearing at the flesh with her powerful jaws. The sound of ripping meat filled the air, a reminder of the brutal reality of their existence. Each bite was a testament to her strength and determination. They ate in silence, side by side. The only sounds were the crunching of bones and the tearing of flesh. It was a rare moment of tranquility in a world ruled by chaos and violence. The setting sun cast long shadows across the plain. The golden light bathed the scene in an almost surreal glow, highlighting the stark contrast between life and death, predator and prey. For a moment there was peace between these two apex predators. It was a fleeting truce, born out of mutual need and respect. In that brief interlude, they were not enemies, but survivors sharing a moment of respite. But it was a fragile peace. The tension was palpable, a reminder that their alliance was temporary. Any sudden movement could shatter the delicate balance they had achieved. Rex knew that the moment the meal was over, their truce would end. He was acutely aware of the dangers that lay ahead. The jungle was unforgiving, and trust was a luxury they could not afford. For now, he would savor the moment. In the fading light of the day, he allowed himself a rare moment of reflection. The spoils of victory were not just the food they consumed, but the fleeting sense of connection in a world where survival was the only constant. Section 8. Twilight's Embrace. As darkness fell, the female T-Rex retreated into the shadows. Rex watched her go, a strange feeling stirring within him. He was alone again, but he didn't feel lonely. He lumbered back towards his lair, his belly full. The stars twinkled above him, a million pinpricks of light in the vastness of the night sky. He entered his lair, a shallow cave hidden amongst the rocks. He lay down, his massive body sinking into the cool earth. He was tired, but content. He closed his eyes and drifted off to sleep, the sounds of the prehistoric night lulling him into slumber. Section 9. King of the Jurassic World. Rex slept soundly. He dreamt of hunts and battles, of victories and defeats. He was the king, and his reign would continue. He was a force of nature, a creature of immense power and majesty. He was the T-Rex, and he ruled the Jurassic world. Dinosaurs! The very word evokes a sense of wonder and excitement. These ancient creatures, with their massive sizes and unique features, have captured the human imagination for generations. These magnificent creatures, ruling the Earth millions of years ago, continue to fascinate us. From the towering Brachiosaurus to the fearsome Tyrannosaurus Rex, each dinosaur species tells a story of a world long gone. Their gigantic sizes, strange shapes, and fearsome features spark our imagination. We marvel at their diversity, from the long-necked giants to the swift and deadly predators. Among these prehistoric titans, one stands out for its sheer peculiarity: Spinosaurus. Unlike any other dinosaur, Spinosaurus was a semi-aquatic predator, adapted to life both on land and in water. Imagine a world where massive rivers snake through lush landscapes. This was the habitat of Spinosaurus, a creature that thrived in the waterways of what is now North Africa. In this world, a creature unlike any other stalks its prey. With its long, crocodile-like snout and powerful limbs, Spinosaurus was a formidable hunter, capable of catching fish and other aquatic prey. This is the world of Spinosaurus, a dinosaur that continues to puzzle and amaze paleontologists even today. Its unique adaptations and mysterious lifestyle make it one of the most intriguing dinosaurs ever discovered. Its story, like the fossils it left behind, is a jigsaw puzzle, slowly being pieced together by scientists across the globe. Each new discovery brings us closer to understanding this enigmatic creature. Join us as we delve into the fascinating tale of Spinosaurus, the river monster. From its discovery to the latest research, we will explore the life and times of this incredible dinosaur, uncovering the secrets of its existence and the world it once ruled. Our story begins in the scorching sands of Egypt, over a century ago. The relentless sun beat down on the arid landscape, a place where secrets lay buried beneath the shifting dunes. In 1912, German paleontologist Ernst Stromer unearthed some truly bizarre bones. These bones were unlike anything seen before, sparking curiosity and excitement in the scientific community. These fossils hinted at a creature unlike any other, a massive predator with enormous spines jutting out from its back. The spines were so large and unusual that they seemed almost otherworldly, capturing the imagination of all who saw them. Stromer named this enigmatic creature Spinosaurus aegyptiacus, meaning Egyptian spine lizard. This name reflected both its place of discovery and its distinctive physical characteristics. Sadly, the initial Spinosaurus fossils met an unfortunate end. During the chaos of World War II, these invaluable specimens were lost forever. They were destroyed during World War II in a bombing raid on Munich. The loss was a significant blow to paleontology, as these fossils held crucial information about one of the most mysterious dinosaurs ever discovered. For decades, our understanding of Spinosaurus remained shrouded in mystery, much like the creature itself. Without the original fossils, scientists could only speculate about its true nature and appearance. However, the story of Spinosaurus didn't end there. Determined researchers continued to search for more clues, driven by the hope of uncovering new evidence that could shed light on this prehistoric enigma. New discoveries awaited, hidden beneath layers of time and sand. The relentless pursuit of knowledge led paleontologists back to the deserts of Egypt, where they hoped to find the missing pieces of the Spinosaurus puzzle. Step back in time about 95 million years, to an era when the Earth was a vastly different place. The continents were not where we know them today, and the climate was much warmer. This was the Cretaceous period, a time when dinosaurs ruled the land and the seas teemed with life. Imagine a world where the air is thick with humidity and the landscape is lush and green, a stark contrast to the arid deserts we see in North Africa today. Picture North Africa, but not the arid desert we know today. Instead, envision a land covered in dense forests and crisscrossed by mighty rivers. This was a place of abundant life, where the vegetation was thick and the waters were rich with fish and other aquatic creatures. The transformation from this lush paradise to the desert we see now is a testament to the ever-changing nature of our planet. This is a world of vast river systems teeming with life. These rivers were the lifeblood of the region, supporting a diverse array of species. From the smallest fish to the largest predators, the rivers were a hub of activity. The water was clear and cool, providing a perfect habitat for a variety of creatures. Schools of fish darted through the water while larger predators lurked in the depths, waiting for their next meal. Giant fish, some larger than cars, patrol the waters. These massive creatures were the kings of the river, their size and strength making them formidable predators. They moved with grace and power, their scales glinting in the sunlight as they swam. These fish were not the only giants in the water, however. Other large predators, including ancient crocodiles and massive turtles, also called these rivers home. Crocodiles with snouts like shovels lurk in the shallows. These ancient reptiles were perfectly adapted to their environment, their long, narrow snouts ideal for catching fish. They lay in wait, their eyes just above the water's surface, ready to strike at any moment. Their powerful jaws could snap shut with incredible force, making them a deadly threat to any creature that ventured too close. This is the world Spinosaurus called home. With its long, crocodile-like snout and massive sail on its back, Spinosaurus was a unique and formidable predator. It was one of the largest carnivorous dinosaurs, and it was perfectly adapted to life in and around the water. Its powerful limbs and strong tail made it an excellent swimmer, while its sharp teeth and claws made it a fearsome hunter. Fossil evidence places Spinosaurus in what is now Morocco, Algeria, and Egypt. These fossils have provided us with a wealth of information about this incredible creature, from its physical characteristics to its behavior and habitat. Paleontologists have worked tirelessly to uncover these fossils, piecing together the story of Spinosaurus and its world. Each new discovery brings us closer to understanding this fascinating dinosaur and the environment it lived in. This region, during the Cretaceous period, was a paradise for a certain kind of predator, a predator perfectly adapted to life in and around water. Spinosaurus thrived in this environment, using its unique adaptations to dominate the rivers and surrounding areas. Its long, narrow snout was ideal for catching fish, while its powerful limbs and tail made it an excellent swimmer. This combination of traits made Spinosaurus a formidable predator, capable of taking on even the largest prey. Here, among the meandering rivers and lush vegetation, Spinosaurus thrived, its shadow falling upon its watery domain. This was a world where the boundaries between land and water were blurred, and Spinosaurus was the master of both. Its presence was felt throughout the region, a testament to its dominance and adaptability. In this ancient world, Spinosaurus reigned supreme, a true king of its domain. What truly sets Spinosaurus apart from its dinosaur kin? The answer is in its name, the spines. Imagine a row of gigantic spines, some taller than a human, jutting out from the dinosaur's back. These spines, connected by skin, formed a massive sail-like structure. The purpose of this sail is still debated. Some scientists believe it was for display, attracting mates or intimidating rivals. Others argue it helped regulate body temperature. Whatever its purpose, the sail made Spinosaurus a truly awe-inspiring sight. This unusual feature has sparked endless fascination and debate among paleontologists, further cementing Spinosaurus's status as an extraordinary dinosaur. Spinosaurus wasn't just about the sail. This dinosaur possessed a fearsome array of weapons perfectly suited to its watery lifestyle. Its skull, long and narrow like a crocodile's, housed jaws filled with sharp conical teeth. These teeth were ideal for snaring slippery prey like fish, but Spinosaurus was no picky eater. Its fossils have been found near the remains of other dinosaurs, suggesting it may have scavenged or even hunted them on occasion. Massive claws on its hands provided an additional tool for catching and holding on to prey. Spinosaurus was a formidable predator, well equipped to dominate its ecosystem. Recent discoveries have painted an even more intriguing picture of Spinosaurus. Some paleontologists believe that Spinosaurus wasn't just a riverside dweller, but a full-fledged swimmer. Evidence for this comes from its unusual body proportions. Its hind limbs were surprisingly short and stout, more like those of an early whale than other predatory dinosaurs. Its tail, too, showed adaptations for swimming, potentially used for propulsion in water. This has led to the mind-boggling image of Spinosaurus, a dinosaur actively pursuing and catching fish in deep water. If true, it would be a unique example of a non-avian dinosaur adapted for an aquatic lifestyle. The tale of Spinosaurus is far from over. New fossil discoveries and research are constantly adding to our understanding of this enigmatic creature. However, with each new finding, more questions arise. The exact shape and function of its sail, its swimming capabilities, and even its posture are still debated among scientists. The debate is fueled by the fragmentary nature of Spinosaurus fossils, leaving much to interpretation. This air of mystery is part of what makes Spinosaurus so captivating. It is a reminder that our journey to understand the prehistoric world is ongoing, filled with surprises and challenges. Despite the mysteries surrounding it, one thing is certain. Spinosaurus has secured its place in the Hall of Fame of prehistoric creatures. Its bizarre appearance, massive size, and unique adaptations continue to spark our imaginations. From documentaries to blockbuster films, Spinosaurus has captured the attention of people worldwide. Its legacy extends beyond scientific journals, inspiring a sense of wonder and curiosity about the ancient world. The story of Spinosaurus reminds us that there's still so much we don't know about the history of life on Earth. Spinosaurus represents the allure of paleontology. It's a field where each new discovery can rewrite textbooks and challenge our understanding of the past. It allows us to step back in time, to imagine a world vastly different from our own. As we continue to unearth more fossils and unravel the secrets they hold, we can be sure that Spinosaurus, the spine-chilling river monster, will continue to fascinate and inspire us for generations to come. Its story is a testament to the power of discovery and the enduring mystery of the dinosaur kingdom. Imagine a world long before humans. Dinosaurs roamed the earth, dominating the landscape for millions of years. These magnificent creatures came in all shapes and sizes, from the towering giants to the small, nimble hunters. Their existence paints a vivid picture of a time when nature was both brutal and beautiful. Some were gentle giants, munching on leaves and towering over the prehistoric forests. These herbivorous dinosaurs, like the Brachiosaurus and the Triceratops, played a crucial role in their ecosystems, shaping the environment with their massive appetites and sheer size. Others were fierce predators, ruling the land with their strength and cunning. the mighty Tyrannosaurus Rex, with its powerful jaws and sharp teeth, was one of the most fearsome hunters to ever walk the earth. These carnivorous dinosaurs were the apex predators of their time, keeping the balance in the prehistoric world. Among these prehistoric creatures lived a fascinating dinosaur called the Velociraptor. Unlike the towering giants or the massive predators, the Velociraptor was relatively small, but what it lacked in size, it made up for in agility and intelligence. The Velociraptor, whose name means Swift Caesar, was a small but mighty dinosaur. It was about the size of a turkey, but its speed and sharp claws made it a formidable hunter. This dinosaur was known for its agility and hunting prowess, often hunting in packs to take down larger prey. It lived during the late Cretaceous period, about 75 to 71 million years ago. This era was a time of great diversity among dinosaurs, with many different species coexisting and evolving in a constantly changing environment. Fossils of this remarkable creature have been found in Mongolia, China, and Russia, giving us clues about its life and behavior. These discoveries have helped paleontologists piece together the story of the Velociraptor, revealing its hunting strategies, social behavior, and even its physical appearance. Join me as we journey back in time to learn more about this intriguing dinosaur. Through the lens of science and imagination, we can explore the world of the Velociraptor and gain a deeper understanding of the prehistoric world it inhabited. From its hunting techniques to its social structure, the Velociraptor continues to captivate our imagination and expand our knowledge of the ancient past. The Velociraptor was not a giant like its cousin, the Tyrannosaurus Rex. While the T-Rex dominated the landscape with its massive size and powerful jaws, the Velociraptor was a much smaller yet equally fascinating creature. Its name, which means swift thief, gives us a hint about its nature and abilities. In fact, it was closer in size to a turkey than a monster. This comparison might seem surprising, but it helps us understand the true scale of this ancient predator. Imagine a creature about the size of a modern-day turkey, but with a much more menacing appearance and demeanor. It measured about 6 feet long and stood about 3 feet tall. Despite its relatively small stature, the Velociraptor was a force to be reckoned with. Its long, slender body was perfectly adapted for hunting and capturing prey. Don't let its size fool you, though. The Velociraptor was equipped with a set of deadly tools that made it a formidable predator. Its sharp, curved claws were perfect for gripping and tearing into its prey, while its strong jaws could deliver a powerful bite. The Velociraptor was a formidable predator, built for speed and agility. Its lightweight frame and powerful muscles allowed it to move quickly and efficiently, making it an expert hunter. This combination of speed and strength made the Velociraptor a dangerous adversary in the prehistoric world. Its lightweight bones and powerful legs allowed it to run at impressive speeds, perhaps up to 40 miles per hour. This incredible speed gave the Velociraptor a significant advantage when chasing down prey or evading larger predators. Imagine that, as fast as a car in a city. This comparison helps us appreciate just how fast the Velociraptor could move. In a modern urban environment, it would be able to keep up with the flow of traffic, darting between cars with ease. This speed, combined with its sharp senses, made it a highly effective hunter. The Velociraptor's keen eyesight and acute sense of smell allowed it to detect prey from a distance, while its agility and speed enabled it to close in quickly and strike with precision. In the dense forests and open plains of its time, the Velociraptor was a master of its environment, using its natural abilities to survive and thrive. The Velociraptor was a marvel of evolution, every part of its body designed for hunting. Its long, stiff tail helped it balance while running and turning quickly. This was crucial for chasing down prey or dodging obstacles in its path. Moreover, the Velociraptor had large eyes that faced forward, giving it excellent binocular vision. This means it could judge distances accurately, an essential skill for a predator. It's no wonder this dinosaur was a successful hunter with such remarkable physical adaptations. One of the Velociraptor's most iconic features was its large, sickle-shaped claw on each foot. This claw, which could grow up to 3 inches long, was its primary weapon. The Velociraptor would use it to strike at its prey, inflicting deep wounds. Some scientists believe that Velociraptors hunted in packs, using coordinated attacks to bring down larger dinosaurs. They may have used their claws to latch onto their prey while delivering bites with their sharp, serrated teeth. Section 5. Reign of the Dinosaurs, the Velociraptor's ecosystem. The Velociraptor lived in a hot and humid environment with lush vegetation and abundant water sources. This environment was not just a backdrop but a vital component of the Velociraptor's daily life. The dense jungle provided ample cover for these agile predators, allowing them to stalk their prey with stealth and precision. The thick vegetation also supported a diverse array of plant life, which in turn sustained a variety of herbivorous dinosaurs and other creatures. This prehistoric world was teeming with life, from small mammals and reptiles to giant dinosaurs like the Triceratops, which may have been a favorite meal for the Velociraptor. The ecosystem was a complex web of interactions, with each species playing a crucial role. Small mammals scurried through the underbrush, while reptiles basked in the sun. The Triceratops, with its sturdy build and defensive frill, presented a challenging but rewarding target for the Velociraptor. Imagine a landscape filled with ferns and towering trees, the air thick with humidity. The towering trees created a canopy that filtered sunlight, casting dappled shadows on the forest floor. The humidity was almost palpable, creating a lush, green world where life thrived in abundance. This environment was both a paradise and a battleground, where survival depended on keen senses and quick reflexes. In this ancient world, the Velociraptor played a crucial role, keeping populations of other animals in check and maintaining the delicate balance of its ecosystem. As a top predator, the Velociraptor's hunting activities helped to control the numbers of herbivorous dinosaurs, preventing any one species from becoming too dominant. This balance was essential for the health of the ecosystem, ensuring that resources were not depleted and that a variety of species could coexist. The Velociraptor's presence was a testament to the intricate and interdependent nature of prehistoric life. Section 6. Separating fact from fiction. Velociraptors in popular culture. The Velociraptor gained immense popularity thanks to movies like Jurassic Park. While these films brought dinosaurs to life on the big screen, they also introduced some misconceptions about the Velociraptor. For instance, the Velociraptors in the movie were much larger than their real-life counterparts. They were also depicted as scaly reptilian creatures, while in reality, evidence suggests that Velociraptors had feathers. Section 7. The truth about feathers. Debunking the scaly myth. Yes, you heard that right. Scientists now believe that Velociraptors were not covered in scales like lizards, but had feathers, much like birds today. Fossil evidence, including quill knobs on their bones, strongly suggests the presence of feathers. However, these feathers weren't for flying. The Velociraptor was flightless. Instead, the feathers may have served other purposes like insulation, camouflage, or even display during courtship rituals. Section 8. Small but mighty. The importance of Velociraptors. Despite their small size, Velociraptors played a vital role in their prehistoric ecosystem. As agile predators, they helped control populations of herbivorous dinosaurs, preventing overgrazing and maintaining the balance of their environment. Their fossils provide valuable insights into the evolution of dinosaurs and the ecosystems they inhabited. Studying Velociraptors helps us piece together the story of life on Earth millions of years ago. Section 9. A legacy etched in bone. Remembering the Velociraptors. The Velociraptor may be long gone, but its legacy lives on. Their fossils continue to fascinate scientists and ignite our imaginations, transporting us to a time when dinosaurs ruled the Earth. As we unearth more secrets about these incredible creatures, we gain a deeper appreciation for the diversity and wonder of our planet's prehistoric past. The Velociraptor, once a swift predator, now stands as a symbol of our fascination with dinosaurs and the mysteries they hold.
The extinction of the dinosaurs. Michael J. Ord. Abstract dinosaur extinction is still a major enigma of Earth history. In this review article, extinctions in the geological record will be briefly mentioned. Many of the imaginative theories for the extinction of the dinosaurs will also be presented. Within the uniformitarian paradigm, the meteorite impact theory, once considered outrageous, now is the dominant theory. However, the volcanic theory is still believed by a majority of paleontologists. Both theories have their strengths and weaknesses. The unscientific behavior of those involved in the meteorite paradigm change will be briefly explored. Evidence that the dinosaurs died in a cataclysm of global proportions will be presented, such as the huge water-laid dinosaur graveyards found over the Earth. Occasional monospecific bone beds and the rarity of fossils of very young dinosaurs suggest a catastrophic death and burial. The billions of dinosaur tracks recently discovered provide testimony to unusual, stressful conditions. Nests, eggs, and babies are a challenge to a flood model, but there are enough unknowns associated with the data that solid conclusions are difficult to draw. The part that impacts and volcanism play in a flood paradigm will be briefly discussed. The question of whether the K/T boundary and the extinction of the dinosaurs should be considered a synchronous event within the flood will be considered. Introduction: Dinosaurs bring wonder to children and adults alike. That such great beasts once roamed the earth is hard to imagine. Even harder to imagine is that some dinosaurs such as Tyrannosaurus Rex were probably giant killing machines, after the fall, anyway. Of all the many questions related to dinosaurs, their disappearance from the earth is the most mysterious of all. Their demise, of course, assumes that no dinosaurs are alive today, as some people believe, but which is beyond the scope of this review article. The mystery is heightened when one realizes that the dinosaurs were well adapted to their environments and apparently had a worldwide distribution. Dinosaurs have been unearthed on every continent, including Antarctica. 1,2 Their traces are even found on a few isolated oceanic islands, such as Spitsbergen 3 and North Island, New Zealand. 4 Besides Antarctica and Spitsbergen, dinosaurs have been dug up from other high-latitude or inferred high paleolatitude locations. 5 For instance, they have been unearthed from the north slope of Alaska near the Arctic. Tech. J. Vol. 11. No. 2, 1997 Ocean. 68 These high-latitude discoveries have initiated many questions on whether dinosaurs were endotherms, ectotherms, or some combination in between, whether they migrated towards lower latitudes to avoid winter CPLD and darkness, or if they actually lived at these polar locations all year round. 9 Polar dinosaurs have greatly perplexed uniformitarian scientists, as exemplified in the following comment by Michael Benton: should we now imagine dinosaurs as thermally insulated, warm-blooded animals that plowed through snowdrifts and scraped the ice off the ground to find food? 10 During the past 20 years, dinosaur tracks have been discovered at over 1,500 locations from around the world. Figure L. 11 Tracks are even known from polar latitudes, such as in Alaska near the coast of the Arctic Ocean-12 and from the isolated North Atlantic island of Spitsbergen. 13 The number of tracks is in the billions. Some areas display tracks on multiple layers of sedimentary rock. 14 16 Dinosaur eggs, as well as nests, embryos and hatchlings, are now recognized from at least 199 locations around the 137. Ready answer is apparent. 23 Extinctions in general. Dinosaurs, although creating the most interest, are but one group of animals that became extinct at the end of the Cretaceous. The geological time scale is used for communication purposes only and is not meant to endorse the geological column or time scale. Extinctions have also occurred in all other periods of geological time. The subject of extinctions is rather controversial due to 1. Taxonomic difficulties, 2. The unknown time stratigraphic range of most species, 3. The multiplication of names for the same organism, and 4. The unknown. Figure 1. Worldwide distribution of dinosaur footprint discoveries. About 1,500 locations have been known to yield dinosaur tracks. Paleobiogeographic distribution of many taxa. 24 A few evolutionists actually believe world. Figure 2. 17 A new discovery from Spain suggests there was no such thing as mass extinction. 25 Many others see a background level of whopping 300,000 eggs packed into a rock volume of about 12,000 cubic meters. 18-19 These rocks are probably within marine sandstone, so according to the uniformitarian extinction punctuated by 9 periods of high extinction rates. Table 1 lists the geological time of these 9 mass extinction events and their probable causes. 26 Paradigm The nests are automatically said to have been laid. The most singular extinction event in the supposed at the seashore. Despite all these eggs, embryos within the eggs are very rare. 20 Characteristics of nests, eggs, and history of life was not the end Cretaceous disappearance of the dinosaurs, but the end Permian demise of most groups. Hatchlings in north-central Montana, USA, have given rise to interesting interpretations of dinosaur maternal care. 21-22 Why did the dinosaurs, as well as the marine reptiles and the flying reptiles, vanish from off the face of the earth? This is the burning question. Although many dinosaurs became extinct well before the end Cretaceous, nevertheless Zhao Ziyiquei indicates that dinosaur extinction still remains a major enigma of Earth history, despite 2 promising theories. Thus, the dinosaurs could quickly make use of the available ecological and evolutionary opportunities. However, they all vanished from the Earth in the global events at the end of the Cretaceous. The cause poses a figure 2. Worldwide distribution of the 199 sites where dinosaur eggs have been found. Major deposits are few. The fragile eggs were easily broken and then dissolved in groundwater. Difficult question for which most of those that were fossilized go unrecognized by the untrained eye. 138 Ctechj, Vol. 11, Number 2, 1997 Extinction of the Dinosaurs Ord Overviews of Marine and Terrestrial Animals. 27 The gravity of this N theories, and many more have been added since then. 42 Permian event varies, depending upon the scientist doing probably only the cause of the Pleistocene Ice Age has the analysis and upon whether the datum is at the species, genus, or family level. One estimate is that 57% of generated American Samoa. Many bewildering theories. As of 1968, there were 60 theories for the cause of the Ice Age. 43 In 1957, a marine families and 96% of marine species were decimated. 28 Referring to Table 1, this extinction is prominent Ice Age specialist J. K. Charlesworth summarized Ice Age theories, attributed to cooling from an ice age in combination with Pleistocene phenomena, have produced an absolute riot, a marine regression. However, according to the of theories ranging from the remotely possible to the uniformitarian paradigm, the late Carboniferous and early Permian Ice Age had ended millions of years before. 29 And mutually contradictory and the palpably inadequate. 44. Should have caused a marine transgression due to melting. Some dinosaur extinction theories postulate that ice, at least up until mid-Permian time. Recent research is dinosaurs died from the cold, while others suggest the beasts now trying to tie in the massive end Permian time died from the heat, or else it was too hot in the summer and extinctions with a giant meteorite impact, based on the finding of shocked quartz in Australia and Antarctica. 32 Cold in the winter. One theory hypothesis is that the climate became too wet, while another that the climate dried. Since geologists love cycles, 5 of the extinction out to kill off the dinosaurs. Events in Table 1 motivated David Ropp and John Sepkoski to postulate a 26 million-year extinction periodicity over the past 250 million years of geological time. 31 One hypothesis for the cycle was that Nemesis, a twin star of the Sun, periodically disturbed the hypothetical Oort cloud of comets, some being ejected into the Solar System. 32 Some of these comets then collided with the Earth, resulting in the periodic mass extinctions. Nemesis has of course never been observed, neither has the Oort cloud. It is interesting that the 26 million-year periodicity motivated other scientists to table 9 major mass extinctions and their suggested cause or causes. Statistically scrutinized terrestrial impact structures, which supposedly verified the 26 million-year cycle. 33 Many scientists now dispute the 26. The dinosaurs could have starved to death or died from overeating. Or their extinction may have been caused by a million-year periodicity, revealing in the process nutritional problem, such as newly evolved flowering, questionable assumptions in taxonomic analysis, plants not providing the proper nutritional balance. Or the Patterson and Smith's analysis produced the flowering plants could have evolved poisons that killed, the unexpected result that only a quarter of the family's dinosaurs, as some theorize. A variant on the poisoning and family distributions recognized by Ropp and Thiem is that poisonous insects evolved and stung the Sepkoski are valid. The other 3/4 fell into 6 inappropriate groupings. 34 Dinosaurs into extinction. Others thought the water became poisonous with chemicals. Another ingenious twist is that the 26 million-year cycle of impact craters is very likely butterflies and moths evolved and the larvae stripped. An example of the reinforcement syndrome, in which plants of leaves causing the herbivores to pass away, bringing hypothesis tends to be supported by further research, when the support really is not there. 35 On the extinction of the carnivores. Another theory suggests the herbivorous dinosaurs simply changed their eating habits to a less favorable diet, causing the demise of all the theories of dinosaur extinction. Dinosaurs. Some postulate that too many carnivores decimated the herbivorous dinosaurs. Naturally, such a mystery as dinosaur extinction has astronomical or geophysical causes have often been spawned a wide range of theories, ranging from the plausible to the entertaining. 3641 In 1963, a geologist counted 46 invoked, for instance a change in the Earth's gravity, the axial tilt, or a reversal in the magnetic field. Some postulates NTECHJ, Vol. 11, Number 2, 1997 139 A sudden bath in cosmic radiation. One theory, reinforced at one time by the iridium anomalies in sedimentary rocks, is that a supernova exploded near the Earth. 45 In this case the supernova would have increased the solar proton flux, which would have broken down the protective ozone layer, allowing ultraviolet radiation to zap the dinosaurs. Or the supernova explosion could have sharply increased cosmic rays. 46 Another imaginative hypothesis claimed that intense volcanism spewed up large quantities of radioactive elements, so that the dinosaurs died of radiation poisoning. In 1978, it was proposed that a spillover of cold brackish water from an isolated Arctic Ocean caused an ecological chain reaction, first killing off the pelagic plankton and ending with the terrestrial animals. 47 Another terrestrial theory postulated that the land became too hilly. Many paleontologists favor a regression of shallow seas, which suppressed dinosaur speciation rates and increased extinction rates. The mechanism for this vague hypothesis supposedly was due to competitive interchange between faunas and increased disease vectors. A variety of theories suggest that either the pressure or some other component of the atmosphere changed to kill off the dinosaurs. One example is a decrease in carbon dioxide, another example is an increase in oxygen given off by too many plants. However, others have suggested oxygen decreased due to a decrease in plankton. 48 A past popular favorite was that little mammals, waiting for the great die-off in order to evolve, advanced dinosaur extinction by eating dinosaur eggs. However, vertebrate paleontologists generally believe the mammals were too small to have accomplished this feat. 49 There is a large list of far-fetched to entertaining theories, some possibly suggested tongue-in-cheek, including extinction by parasites, slipped vertebral discs, hormonal disorders, shrinking brains, chronic constipation, overspecialization, inability to change, becoming too large, senility, hyperpituitarism, cataracts, racial senescence, they simply lived long enough, and social problems causing malformations of their bones during growth. Cherig lists the following as the most outrageous: poison gases, volcanic gases, meteorites, comets, sunspots, God's will, mass suicide and wars. 50 Interestingly, volcanism, meteorite impacts and cometary collisions are now the major contenders, and I will argue that the real reason is an act of God through the agency of the worldwide Genesis flood. Outrageous geological theories, for example, J. Harlan Bretz's Spokane flood as the origin of the channeled scabland in eastern Washington, USA, should not be so freely dismissed. In spite of the recent dominance of the meteorite hypothesis, scientists continue to add new causes or subsidiary causes for the extinction of the dinosaurs. Some of these recent mechanisms are: 1. Cancer triggered by huge bursts of neutrinos released by dying stars in the Milky Way galaxy, 5152, 2. AIDS, 53 and 140, 3. Hypercanes, super hurricanes that could be triggered by meteorite impacts, causing environmental catastrophe. 54,55 Revival of the meteorite extinction theory. Ever since 1980, the meteorite hypothesis has swept to center stage, and a large literature now surrounds it. Back in 1979, the meteorite hypothesis was considered outrageous by many geologists. The turnaround came with the discovery of an iridium (IR) anomaly at the Cretaceous/Tertiary (K/T) boundary. 56 in thin clay layers, 1 cm to several tens of centimeters thick, found at Gubbio, Italy, and at Steffens Klint, Denmark. The contained IR concentrations were increased 30 and 160 times respectively above background levels. The Earth's crust is depleted in iridium and other platinum group elements, while meteorites are enriched in them. A 10 km diameter meteorite was said to have injected 60 times its mass in pulverized rock into the stratosphere, causing a cooling trend that wiped out about 50% of the biota, including all the dinosaurs. Conversely, others envision the impact caused a sudden, short-term temperature rise, instead of cooling from a nuclear winter-like mechanism. 57 The sudden heating supposedly was caused by an oceanic impact which injected water into the stratosphere, producing a vapor canopy effect. It did not take long to discover IR anomalies at other K/T sites. 5860 Currently, there are 103 known K/T iridium anomalies from around the world, mostly in marine sediments either on the bottom of the ocean or on land. 61 As for the frequency of meteorite bombardment, Eugene Shoemaker estimated that the Earth probably was struck 5 to 10 times by meteorites that formed craters greater than 140 kilometers in diameter. 62 So an impact at the K/T boundary is not as outlandish within the uniformitarian paradigm as many first thought. Other scientists using computer climate models reinforced the scenario of disastrous climatological and ecological effects. 63 The discovery of shocked quartz in eastern Montana, USA, in 1984-64 and at many other sites around the WORLD 65 since then, is considered further proof of the meteorite hypothesis. Shocked quartz differs from ordinary quartz, in that the crystal lattice has become compressed and deformed by pressure. Under a scanning electron microscope, the quartz exhibits planar striations in one or more directions on a crystal face. Various other, more minor, and equivocal evidence has been adduced in favor of the meteorite/asteroid extinction hypothesis, such as 1. A palynological change from ferns to angiosperms in continental deposits, 66. 2. The existence of microtectites 67 which are small, droplet-shaped blobs of silica-rich glass, 3. Soot-rich horizons supposedly from global wildfires CENTECHJ, vol. 11, number 2. 1997 caused by the heat of impact, 68, 4, various isotopic ratios, 69, 5, various other platinum group elements, 70 and 6, the discovery of the smoking gun the Chicxulub structure on Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula. 71 Thus, the meteorite extinction theory has seemingly been verified by an overwhelming amount of observational data. The volcanic theory The triumph of the meteorite theory has come with much dissent, especially from paleontologists who opted for a volcanic mechanism, often combined with marine regression, to explain the data. 72-75 Even in spite of what seems like impressive confirmation of the meteorite theory and reinforced by the scientific press and news media, the dispute continues. 76 If you read only the evidence for the impact theory, you would be impressed. However, if you read further the evidence for the volcanic theory, you would discover that the meteorite theory is not as well supported as it may seem. Volcanic adherents point to the evidence of massive volcanism around the K/T boundary, for instance, the 1 million km3 of Deccan basalts in India and the extensive volcanism in western North America related to the Laramide orogeny. To them, it is more logical that the dinosaurs died out gradually from all this volcanic activity. As it turns out, iridium is also associated with volcanism, especially with dust injected into the atmosphere from basaltic extrusions. 77 For instance, the fine airborne particles above an Hawaiian basaltic eruption were found to be highly enriched in iridium, much higher than in the K/T boundary clays at Gubbio and Stephens Clint. 78,79 High iridium has also been associated with other volcanic eruptions and found within volcanic dust bands in the Antarctic ice cores. This fine material is of similar particle size as the K/T boundary clay. Even shocked quartz has been associated with volcanism. 80-82 Impact supporters counter that this shocked quartz is only weakly deformed compared with the K/T boundary shocked quartz, and that shocked quartz is associated with known impact craters as well as nuclear bomb test sites. 83-84 However, Officer and Page argue that shocked grains are not found at some K/T boundary clays, and some shocked quartz grains are too large to have been transported far by the atmospheric winds. 85 Officer adds, That evidence of high-pressure shock is now found within rocks formed by explosions within volcanoes. 86 Many other arguments are brought forth that favor the volcanic theory and/or are inimical to the meteorite theory, such as 1. Various elemental ratios, especially arsenic and antimony to iridium, 87, 2. Iridium spread over too thick a vertical interval at the K/T boundary, which supposedly would represent hundreds of thousands of years, 8891 cent/TECHJ, vol. 11, number 2, 1997, 3. Clays above and below the K/T boundary not much different from the K/T boundary clay, 92, 4. Survival of some environmentally sensitive plants and animals that should have gone extinct, 93, such as frogs, tropical plants, 94-95, and marine plants that require uninterrupted sunlight, 96-97, 5. Iridium spikes and shocked quartz at many other geological times, 98-105, 6. Many extinctions well before the K/T boundary, 106-108, 7. Many missing K/T intervals, 109, 8. The new discovery of polar dinosaurs that supposedly could withstand periods of cold and darkness, 110111, 9. Much Cretaceous clay or shale of volcanic origin in North America, 112, 10. No statistical support for a sudden extinction of dinosaurs, 113 and 11. The possibility that the Chicxulub structure is not of impact origin. 114 Because the extinctions near the K/T boundary are believed to be either gradual or stepwise. 115 Some impact enthusiasts have backed off and instead have suggested extinctions by multiple comet impacts over a 3 million year period. 116 The main problem with the cometary hypothesis is that comets have a low abundance of iridium. 117 Since relatively small iridium spikes have been found associated with 10 other extinction horizons, some investigators have suggested post-depositional mobility of iridium and other platinum group elements. 118 This mobility also would render ambiguous any elemental or isotopic ratios. Adherents to the volcanic hypothesis offer good counter-arguments to all the arguments used in support of an impact. However, impact enthusiasts counter all the volcanic arguments. There is evidence both in favor of and against each hypothesis. The process of paradigm change in science. The dinosaur extinction controversy has revealed how a particular subfield reacted to a paradigm change. Before 1980, practically all scientists were strongly biased against the meteorite hypothesis. This strong bent was mostly due to the uniformitarian assumption of historical geology. Geological sciences have undergone a major shift in paradigms. For 2 centuries, the tenet of uniformitarianism, encapsulated in the phrase "the present is the key to the past," was the skeleton upon which the history of the Earth was constructed. 119 The meteorite hypothesis severely challenged the uniformitarian assumption. 120 But the impact enthusiasts had chemical data, instead of speculation. The iridium anomalies could not only be observed, but could be further tested at other K/T sites. The finding of iridium spikes at other K/T boundaries convinced most scientists, although at the time the geochemistry of iridium was poorly known, and still is poorly known in a marine environment. 121-141 Eventually, meteorite impacts came to be viewed as part of the uniformitarianism paradigm after all. Thus the meteorite theory was quickly supported and built up by the scientific press, especially by the journals Science and Nature. Then the popular press accepted it as fact, followed by most intellectuals. 122 The only group of scientists that were not persuaded were the paleontologists, except for those who advocated punctuated equilibrium, since the idea of impacts fits nicely into their theory. The paleontologists had already worked out the order and timing of dinosaur paleonecrology, and it was a slow evolutionary birth and death. They also did not like outsiders such as alien physicists. Luis Alvarez was a famous physicist who had received the Nobel Prize, messing around in their speciality. 123,124 Paleontologists mostly favor the volcanic theory with marine regression. So, before 1980 scientific bias was against the meteorite theory, but afterwards it was against all other theories. Scientists, nowadays, barely consider the paleontologists' arguments, many of them quite good from the uniformitarian standpoint. They simply believe the iridium anomalies and the shocked quartz grains prove the meteorite theory. An overview of the controversy shows that whether a person accepted or rejected the meteorite theory was greatly preconditioned by his institution of higher learning and his scientific discipline. 125 The peer pressure to conform to the preconceived ideas of one's institution is strong, as Stephen Jay Gould admits. 7 Think orthodoxy is enormously supported. In fact, I would make an argument, and I think that anyone who argues against this is not being quite honest, that institutions, universities in particular, are very conservative places. Their function is not, despite lip service, to generate radically new ideas. There's just too much operating in tenure systems and granting systems, in judgmental systems usually older upon younger people with the pretender needs to conform. 126 Such strong peer pressure results in what is called by many others a bandwagon effect. 127 Another name for the reinforcement syndrome. William Glenn explains, the bandwagon effect, exacerbated by the rapid pace of the mass extinction debates, was strongly in evidence in this study. It was also documented in vivo in studies of the accretionary terrain research program. 128 Biases were so strong that scientists resorted to many unscientific ploys to get their personal way, such as verbally attacking one another, using polemics to push their preferences, sometimes using outdated data, refusing to publish key data, and refusing grants for research they did not agree with. 129,130 An after-the-fact study by William Glenn indicated that few, laymen and scientists alike, really knew much about the issue. 131 This is a sad state of affairs within science. It is no different when it comes to the creation/evolution controversy. 142 Evidence the dinosaurs died in a global flood. Despite the popularity of the meteorite theory, many scientists believe the extinction of the dinosaurs has not been solved, or else that the meteorite theory needs a secondary, boosting mechanism. The extinction of the dinosaurs is still a major mystery. Gregory Paul exclaims, the history of the dinosaurs is marked by remarkable success and stability during the Mesozoic. Far from being inherently vulnerable, the dinosaurs survived in spite of repeated changes in sea level and climate, enormous volcanic eruptions, and great impacts. Indeed, the dinosaurs' fecundity makes it hard to see how such resilient animals could ever have been killed off. The extinction of the dinosaurs was probably not part of the normal course of evolutionary fluctuations, nor was it just another result of random extraterrestrial disruptions. Instead, it remains one of the most extraordinary and inexplicable events in Earth history. 132 Could the reason the extinction of the dinosaurs remains such a major mystery be because of the uniformitarian bias within historical geology? A watery cataclysm and dinosaur graveyards for most creationists, the extinction of the dinosaurs, as well as other extinctions, is not a mystery. In fact, the extinction of the dinosaurs and many other creatures has an easy answer: they simply died in the Genesis flood, except those dinosaurs likely taken on the Ark, which probably died soon after the flood. Genesis 7:21-22 states, "And all flesh that moved on the earth perished, birds and cattle and beasts and every swarming thing that swarms upon the earth, and all mankind, of all that was on the dry land, all in whose nostrils was the breath of the Spirit of life, died." Although there are still many unknowns associated with the observed fossil data on dinosaurs, and the information that is available is often incomplete and interpreted within the evolutionary/uniformitarian paradigm, much of what is known so far fits quite well within the flood paradigm. The most obvious aspect of dinosaur fossils is that most dinosaurs must have been buried rapidly in water. Alternately, the dinosaurs could also have been entombed in giant mass flows. Based on the random mixing of charcoalesced wood with sand found in Colorado and northeastern Wyoming, Edmund Holroyd provides evidence for at least region-wide catastrophic debris flows associated with dinosaur remains. 133-135 Furthermore, after burial, fossilization must have proceeded rapidly under special conditions in which minerals moving through the saturated sediments replaced the organic matter. Therefore, it is no surprise that water is closely associated with the burial and fossilization of the dinosaurs. Clemens states that organisms must be buried rapidly by rare, in his mind 100-year or centechj, Vol 11, No. 2, 1997 500-year events, floods in order to be preserved as fossils. 136 The largest dinosaurs must have been buried by even rarer floods. A sizable number of dinosaurs were entombed in obvious marine sediments. 137-139 In assumed terrestrial sediments, the equivocal environmental designation of a terrestrial environment will be briefly discussed later. Mainstream scientists commonly interpret the action of water as fluvial. For diluvialists, the dinosaurs could have been buried either by sheet flow or channelist flow. Either one is possible in a global flood depending upon many variables. Dinosaurs are often found in large bone beds or dinosaur graveyards, where many dinosaur bones are packed together. This provides evidence for at least catastrophic local floods. 140-142 A few of these bone beds contain thousands of dinosaurs and indicate catastrophic action. Probably the largest bone bed in the world is located in north-central Montana, USA. Based on outcrops, an extrapolated estimate was made for 10,000 duckbill dinosaurs entombed in a thin layer measuring 2 km east-west and 0.5 km north-south. 143-144 The bones are disarticulated and disassociated, and are orientated east-west. However, a few bones were standing upright, indicating some type of debris flow. 145 Moreover, there are no young juveniles or babies in this bone bed, and the bones are all from one species of dinosaur. Horner and Gorman describe the bone bed as follows: how could any mudslide, no matter how catastrophic, have the force to take a 2 or 3 ton animal that had just died and smash it around so much that its femur still embedded in the flesh of its thigh split lengthwise? 146 A cataclysmic event obviously is implied. Another bone bed containing thousands of duckbill dinosaurs, mostly in a single layer, is found in northeastern Wyoming. 147 Over 90 smaller bone beds make up the huge deposit in Dinosaur Provincial Park, Alberta, Canada. 148-150 Dinosaur National Monument in Vernal, Utah, USA, is world famous for its display of a water-laid jumble of disarticulated dinosaur bones. 151 Another well-known bonebed, mostly of large carnivores, is Cleveland Lloyd Dinosaur Quarry in central Utah. 152 Colbert described the stacked dinosaur bones in Howe Quarry, Wyoming, USA as being piled in like logs in a jam. 153 Robert Backer can't help but think of a cataclysm when viewing the dinosaur graveyard at Como Bluff, Wyoming. Anyone who cherishes notions that evolution is always slow and continuous will be shaken out of his beliefs by breakfast bench. Como Bluff and the other geological markers of cataclysm. 154 There are many other dinosaur graveyards in western North America, practically all, if not all, indicating catastrophic burial by water or aqueous slurries. Dinosaur graveyards are not found just in the western United States, but worldwide. One of the first graveyards CENTECHJ, Vol. 11, No. 2, 1997 discovered was an iguanodon graveyard in Belgium. 155 A new sauropod graveyard has been discovered in Niger, Africa. This graveyard is dated as Cretaceous, even though the dinosaurs closely resemble Jurassic dinosaurs of western North America and are dissimilar to dinosaurs from South America, which was expected according to the theory of plate tectonics. 156 A dinosaur graveyard of well-preserved, articulated dinosaurs is now being excavated at Das Han Pu, China. 157 Another dinosaur graveyard that has recently made the scientific news is in Mongolia, also known for its many dinosaur eggs. This is one of the few graveyards that some scientists believe was buried, not by water, but by catastrophic sandstorms. 158-159 Just recently a brooding oviraptorid was found on top of fossilized eggs in Mongolia. 160 David Weishampel says that what these dinosaurs ate in the desert is a problem. Moreover, the unique preservation of a brooding dinosaur owes a great deal to rapid death and burial in what must have been a powerful sandstorm, so sudden that we are left with the impression of an animal freeze-framed in the act of nest brooding. 161 It is doubtful a sandstorm could freeze-frame a brooding dinosaur. Usually any little disturbance will cause an animal to leave its eggs. There is the added question of how the dinosaurs are to be fossilized in a desert. It is more likely this powerful sandstorm was a giant watery sand wave in a catastrophic flood. Similar to the huge bone bed in Montana. 162-163 Many of these dinosaur graveyards contain only one or mostly one type of dinosaur. 164 Practically all the bones in these monospecific bone beds are disarticulated and broken. 165 Furthermore, babies and young juveniles are not only missing from monospecific bone beds, but are extremely rare as fossils anywhere, except for nesting horizons. Baby dinosaur remains are extremely rare in the fossil record, suggesting that most, if not all, baby dinosaur mortality occurred in the nesting area. 166 Since dinosaurs lay many eggs, based on the number of eggs found in nests and clutches, and because infant mortality is normally high in animals, there should be many more fossils of babies and young juveniles than older juveniles and adults. In referring to dinosaur fossils worldwide, Horner and Gorman state, as succeeding years yielded no other major finds of baby dinosaurs, the question grew in importance. If you think about it, more dinosaurs should have died young than died old. That's what happens with most animals. And the high infant mortality should have produced a lot of fossils over the course of 140 million years, a lot of fossils that had never been found. 161 The pervasive lack of very young dinosaurs and the occasional monospecific bone beds of broken and disarticulate bones is most unusual. Some type of herding behavior is normally invoked to explain monospecific 143 bone beds, although the stratigraphic character of some bone beds does not favor this hypothesis. The lack of young juveniles in the monospecific bone beds is perplexing, because young dinosaurs should have accompanied older dinosaurs in a herd, as observed in herds of animals today. The character of these bone beds has given rise to a number of speculative theories, including local catastrophes. One would expect that local catastrophes, such as a flash flood or a volcanic eruption, would entomb more than just one type of animal. Could these monospecific bone beds containing older juveniles and adults provide further evidence of a unique watery catastrophe? One would surmise that during the initial onslaught of the Genesis flood, adult and older juveniles would have been better able to flee the encroaching flood waters. Dinosaurs of the same species may then have herded up, when normally they do not, only to be later buried together. Herding behavior during times of stress is observed today among elk during cold, stormy weather, cattle before earthquakes, and many other species. The herding in this case would have nothing to do with gregarious behavior as some evolutionists surmise. Is it possible the reason for the rarity of baby dinosaurs outside nesting areas is because they could not keep up with the fleeing herd and perished quickly? Their bones were not fossilized, probably because they were too fragile. The existence and characteristics of dinosaur graveyards not only provide strong support for the Genesis flood, but also tell us a few details of what occurred during that great cataclysm. For instance, some bone beds, especially those in Montana and southern Alberta, show signs of exposure on land for a while following death. This is indicated by the remains of carnivorous dinosaur teeth, and only teeth, found among the bones, as well as tooth marks incised onto the bones. 168-171. In other words, these bone beds were scavenged, which has given rise to the idea that T-Rex was just a scavenger. Since the bone beds are lying on thousands of meters of flood sediments, it seems reasonable that the flood sediments became temporarily exposed during the flood. 172 Flood sediments could be exposed by either tectonic uplift or the falling of sea level due to the dynamics of ocean currents on a relatively shallow, flooded continent. 173 Dinosaurs fleeing the encroaching flood waters. Dinosaur tracks also provide more details on unusual conditions during their formation. The importance of dinosaur tracks is that they represent live animals, so that in a flood model, the tracks were made within the first 150 days of the flood. 174-175 In the western United States, billions of dinosaur tracks have recently been discovered. 176-178 Of special note are the megatrack sites. One megatrack site in southeast Utah is on the upper boundary of the Entrada Sandstone, a supposedly desert sandstone. All the tracks are from a fairly large, carnivorous theropod. It is indeed 144 strange that one type of dinosaur lived in a large area of an alleged desert. What were they supposed to eat in a desert? The evidence could be better interpreted as a group of theropods embarking on a temporarily exposed sandy surface during the flood. Since tracks must be buried rapidly within a matter of days or weeks to be preserved. 179 The sandy exposure was brief, followed by another depositional event. A dinosaur freeway has been discovered that stretches from northeast New Mexico to northwest Colorado. The tracks are generally of two types and are found on multiple stratigraphic levels that supposedly span several million years. Since the strata containing the tracks are probably conformable, it does not seem reasonable that only two types of dinosaurs used this freeway over several millions of years. It is more reasonable that dinosaurs found a linear strip of land, or a series of shoals separated by shallow water, during the flood while the sea level was oscillating and sediments were being deposited. There are also a number of features of the tracks that not only are better understood within a diluvial model, but also tell us some of the unique events that occurred during the flood. First, the tracks are practically always found on bedding planes 180 generally capping sedimentary units, which suggests a cycle of sedimentation during the flood followed by a brief exposure above the water. Why wouldn't the tracks be found throughout the beds if the sediments were deposited slowly over long periods of time? Second, the lack of relief on the track-bearing strata 181 indicates a rapid sedimentation event forming flat strata over a huge area. Otherwise, erosion over millions of years would have produced at least hilly topography and, therefore, tracks would traverse up and down hills. The dinosaur-bearing Morrison Formation in the western United States, assuming all the many outcrops are time equivalent, which is questionable, represents what must have been a thin, flat plain a little above sea level. This plain covered 1,800,000 square kilometers from central Utah east to central Kansas, and from central New Mexico north to the Canadian border. The description of this Morrison peneplain seems unreasonable, the enormous area covered by Morrison sediments and the general thinness of the sedimentary sheet, being in most areas less than 100 m in thickness, indicate that the sediments were distributed by widespread, flowing water 182. I can believe the widespread flowing water part, but did this flowing water excavate channels and valleys or create unconformities over a long period of time? The evidence for fluvial action is almost non-existent, given the flat surface over which the Morrison was deposited, the absence of evidence for major single-channel systems. Lack of initial valley incision into the surface left by the retreating seas, and the absence of unconformities within the Morrison 183. How can sediments be deposited thinly and evenly by rivers? Sen Techj, Vol. 11, No. 2, 1997. Over a huge, flat surface with little slope without leaving hundreds to thousands of meters of flood sediments, the significant channels? Such a flat plain containing both evidence, as with bone beds, indicates briefly exposed dinosaur tracks and remains is most unusual. Nothing on Earth today closely resembles the environment of the Morrison Formation 1*4. Indeed, the observations of the sediments or shallow water during the period of rising flood waters. 195 track layers on more than one bedding plane represent brief exposures during a generally continuous Morrison Formation bear striking evidence for catastrophic sedimentation event. The oscillations in local sea level sheet flow, and not slow processes over millions of years. Third, unusual, stressful conditions are also indicated by the fact that practically all trackways are straight. 185 would have been caused by local or distant tectonic events, tides, the dynamics of the flood currents, 196 tsunamis, etc. Lockley and Hunt state, first, the sauropod was changing kin dinosaur nests, eggs, and babies' direction, turning to the right, a phenomenon rarely recorded in trackways. 186. Any deer or elk hunter knows be explained within the flood. That land animals frequently meander, especially while the hypothesis of exposed flood sediments during the looking for food. Straight tracks are usually made when early stages of the flood is further supported by dinosaur. The animal is in a hurry, escaping a predator or a hunter, or bone beds and tracks. It is expected from this hypothesis rapidly migrating. Even in these situations, the trackways that pregnant female dinosaurs would have laid eggs on will sometimes curve or meander a little. the fact that these temporary refuges. So, the finding of fossilized practically all dinosaur trackways are straight strongly favors animals desperately trying to escape some dinosaur eggs, sometimes in nests, which have recently been discovered in many parts of the world. 197 is not unexpected. Catastrophe. The worldwide extent of these straight dinosaur, however, of the thousands of fossilized dinosaur eggs trackways provides evidence for a cataclysm of global discovered, only several contain embryos. 198 and most of proportions. Fourth, there are very few tracks of babies or juveniles. 187,188 Coombs states, these have been discovered in north-central Montana and southern Alberta. 199,201 Several features of the nests, eggs, and babies appear as with bones. Footprints of juvenile dinosaurs or quitito contradict the above flood model. It seems as if too rare, but this apparent scarcity may be in part an artifact of taxonomic bias. 189 Much time was required for all the indicated dinosaur activity. 202-204 For example. At a few locations, eggs have regarding this claim of taxonomic bias. It is interesting been found at 2 or 3 stratigraphic horizons. For that 50% of the elephant tracks from Ambosli National Park, Africa, were made by juveniles. 190 Although instance, at 3 levels within a 3m vertical section on Egg Mountain. 205 It also has been reported that 15 baby elephants probably grow much slower than dinosaurs grew, myosaurs, found in and around a nest 1 kilometer north of Egg, and it can be difficult recognizing a small track. Dinosaurs Mountain, north-central Montana, had grown for a while. Are expected to have produced many more babies than before. Discussing this subject, the reader must be aware elephants. So the reasons for the rarity of tracks of both of the many unknowns associated with dinosaur eggs, which babies and juveniles is not in accord with observations from are subject to variable interpretation by mainstream the modern world, and hence it is against the uniformitarian scientists. Much of the detailed information has not been principle that guides geological thought. The lack of tracks published. What at first may seem contradictory to a flood of young dinosaurs fits better into the flood model, in which model may be shown not to be discrepant with further data. Babies and juveniles were less able to flee the encroaching. For instance, the 15 myosaur babies believed to have flood waters and hence were unable to make too many tracks. Partially grown had worn teeth. Some teeth 3/4 worn. 206 At first glance, these worn teeth suggest the baby's fifth. Another uniformitarian puzzle that is better had fed for a relatively long period with the help of attendant explained within a flood paradigm is the nearly complete mother dinosaurs. Garner states in referring to these worn absence of tracks of stegosaurs, ankylosaurs, and ceratopsians. Although they are certainly heavy enough to make tracks and their skeletal remains are common. 191 Their teeth, it is difficult to see how this sequence of events can be accommodated within the year of the flood. 207 An alternative explanation is that the babies wore down their thick armor and large bony plates suggest they were poor teeth while in the eggs and need not represent a long time. Swimmers, in the track record, there is evidence of a feeding. Based on the analysis of embryos near the swimming dinosaurs and dinosaurs making tracks in shallow Montana/Alberta border, Horner and Curry have concluded water. 192-194, and so they probably succumbed to the first that embryos ground their teeth while still in the egg. 208-209 Inundation of their habitat. For the baby dinosaurs, worn teeth would have been no. In summary, all these unusual characteristics of dinosaur problem, since the teeth would have been simply replaced, tracks do not fit into the uniformitarian paradigm of slow, by new teeth. Therefore, data on dinosaur eggs that it gradual processes over millions of years. The evidence fits better a time of worldwide stress on dinosaurs trying to first seem inimical, may still be explained within a flood model after further information is published. 210,211 Escape rising flood waters. Since the tracks were made on with the above example in mind, let us take a cursory TECHJ, Vol. 11, Number 2, 1997-145 view of Egg Mountain and vicinity. In north-central Montana and southern Alberta, there are several claims for nests, eggs, and babies at multiple stratigraphic levels. However, in one instance the different levels are many tens of kilometers apart. 212,213 Since outcrops are isolated, the stratigraphy could easily be a little confused, due to facies changes or erosion that could have stripped more strata from one area than the other. In these cases, the eggs could be at the same time horizon. On Egg Mountain, it was earlier published that eggs of hypsilophodont dinosaurs, Orodromus maclet, were laid on 3 separate horizons within a 3 m thick vertical section. The eggs were half embedded in limestone layers between mudstone. 214 Just having eggs at different stratigraphic levels is really not a problem in a flood paradigm, in which portions of exposed land were periodically inundated. 215 It would be the same mechanism for the formation of multiple dinosaur track layers. For example, turtles lay their eggs within hours in beach sand and then leave them. Conceivably, a fluctuating sea level could bury their eggs with more sand, and then re-expose the beach for more turtles to lay their eggs soon after the first group. 216 However, paleontologists believe that many of the eggs hatched. Support for this argument comes from the observation that many eggs have broken tops, and that 20 to 25 juveniles of various sizes were found within the nesting area on the horizons. 217 Garner accepts this evidence at face value, concluding that a long period of time was required, thus nest construction, egg laying, and nurture of juveniles occurred at this locality 3 times. If one cycle of this sort is difficult to fit into the flood year, the establishment of 3 successive nesting colonies one after the other surely strains the imagination, notwithstanding that the growth of baby dinosaurs was rapid. 218 Actually, nests on Egg Mountain are rare. The eggs were mostly laid in a spiral on limestone with the pointed end down. 219,220 There is new information and several observations that suggest that there is more to the story of what happened on Egg Mountain. First, there is some question on the number of horizons, with anywhere from 2 to 4 suggested. Second, the dinosaur eggs are no longer considered hypsilophodonts, but the theropod Truden. 221,222 This mistake was easy to make at the time, since there was little skeletal material of Truden and the bones of each are similar in many ways. There are eggs from a second type of dinosaur called Truden, which is not Truden but from an unknown species. The 20 to 25 partial dinosaur skeletons at Egg Mountain are still considered Orodromus, but they had not been hatched from the egg clutches, which are now Truden eggs. Third, the eggs may or may not have hatched. Just because the tops of many eggs were broken, does not 146 necessarily mean the dinosaurs hatched. There are other possible explanations for this observation. Broken egg tops could have been caused by erosion from the next sediment layer or by compaction of the sediments. The tops of the eggs could have been broken by scavengers, for which there is abundant evidence in the area. There are fossils of small mammals, varanid lizards, pterosaurs, and other types of dinosaurs at Egg Mountain. 223-226 Truden teeth are abundant at Egg Mountain. 227 Truden teeth are commonly associated with eggs at other sites of north-central Montana and southern Alberta. 228,229 Could Truden have cannibalized its own eggs on Egg Mountain, as is suggested for Silophysis from the dinosaur graveyard at Ghost Ranch, New Mexico? 230 Teeth of Albertosaurus, very similar to T-Rex, also are found at Egg Mountain. 231 Skeletons of 20 to 25 young dinosaurs are scattered among the eggs. 232 Could they have scavenged the eggs? All this evidence suggests the eggs may have been scavenged after being laid, which need not take a long period of time on exposed land during the flood. Although the stratigraphy of the Myosaur nesting area, 1 kilometer north of Egg Mountain, is confused due to a high degree of lateral variability. 233 Three stratigraphic levels are claimed. 234 Eggs are believed to have been laid at the top and bottom horizons, but not vertically above each other. Local erosion or soft sediments while the sediments were briefly exposed during the flood could account for eggs on 2 of 3 stratigraphic horizons. In other words, it is possible that the dinosaurs laid eggs on a surface that cuts through the stratigraphy. 235 One horizon contains 8 closely spaced nests, 2 that contained hatched baby dinosaurs. This is the horizon where 15 babies were found associated with a nest-like structure, 11 babies inside and 4 around the perimeter. The skeletons are LM long. The ones in the nest were disarticulated and jumbled together, a rather unusual condition for babies that supposedly died in a nest. One of the other 8 nests contained babies only 0.5 m long. Babies 0.5 m long were also found outside the nests. 236 So, it appears that the 1 m long babies in the nest grew for a while, suggesting mothering dinosaurs. Horner believes they grew rapidly and reached 1 m in length in about 1 month. It is possible that during the first 150 days of the flood the Myosaurs laid eggs and that the babies hatched and grew to 1 m long. However, the idea of mothering dinosaurs for altricial babies has recently been challenged. 237 If this claim is true, the mothers did not need to care for their young. Then what were the 15 babies each 1 m long doing in and around one of the nests? If 8 duckbill dinosaurs made nests at the same time, which the evidence suggests, why are some babies only 0.5 m long and some 1 m long? Is it possible that multiple-sized babies were hatched at the same time? Are the claimed nests really nests made by mothering duckbill dinosaurs? They appear to be so, but other explanations are possible, especially in view of the CENTECHJ, Vol. 11, Number 2, 1997 possibility that baby Myosaurs were precocial. At this point, whether the baby Myosaurs were precocial or altricial is controversial. There are still too many unknowns to answer these questions. There are several other indications of unusual, stressful conditions associated with fossilized dinosaur eggs. However, not enough study has been devoted to these conditions to know whether these were general or isolated occurrences. I will only briefly mention them. There are a number of reports of extremely thin egg shells. 238-240 Pathological eggs, especially with multiple shell layers, have also been reported. 241-245 Pathological eggs are rather rare in Western North America compared to other areas of the world. 246 It is rather strange that of the thousands of eggs recently discovered, embryos within the eggs are extremely rare. 247,248 Paleontologists believe the reason for this rarity is because the egg contents are not preserved. Fossil experts think that normally egg contents leak, or decompose until the bones dissolve, or are eaten by predator dinosaurs before fossils are formed. 249 Further data may indicate whether the above observations of fossilized dinosaur eggs are general or rare. If general, they would indicate unusual conditions; if rare, they probably would be the result of chance. Volcanoes and meteorites during the flood. The adherents of the meteorite theory and the volcanic theory for the demise of the dinosaurs possess both supportive and contrary data. The contrary data indicate that neither mechanism is the full story. Creationists expect the flood to have been a volcanic, tectonic, and hydrological cataclysm. Both submarine and subaerial volcanism is expected, and indeed there is abundant evidence for volcanism in both Precambrian 250 and Phanerozoic 251 sedimentary rocks. In Montana, Wyoming, and southern Alberta, the dinosaur-bearing beds contain copious amounts of volcanic material. So volcanism could easily be associated with the demise of the dinosaurs during the flood, but not the main cause. However, it is very likely that meteorite impacts also occurred during the flood. Jeremy Aldenay suggests that impacts triggered the flood. 252,253 Carl Frode and Don DeYoung propose that a planet broke up between Mars and Jupiter, based on the Titius-Bode relationship. The debris from this breakup was responsible for the cratering observed in the Solar System, with most impacts on Earth occurring during the flood. 254 These authors are probably correct, since both the pre-flood and post-flood time frames are expected to have been times of relative geological quiet. 255 Furthermore, there are around 150 probable impact craters now known on Earth. 256 Most of the impact craters are dated between 1 million and 1 billion years. 257 One would expect that most of these 150 impacts occurred during the flood, especially if the flood/post-flood boundary is cen/techj vol. 11. Number 2. 1997 Generally in the late Cainozoic of the uniformitarian timescale. 258-260 The reason for this deduction is that erosion since the flood has been slight, especially in areas not glaciated. 261 An impact within the flood is expected to have been greatly eroded and filled with sediment, showing just the bare circular outline, with little or no detectable ejecta. On the other hand, a post-flood impact is generally expected to exhibit relatively sharp features plus ejecta, especially in a non-glacial and dry environment. A classic example is the Arizona meteor crater. 262 Therefore, since most impact craters are barely detectable in the flood sediments, it is likely that most impacts occurred during the flood. The largest iridium anomalies are probably due to impacts. This is because volcanically produced iridium is mainly from basaltic eruptions, which probably were underwater eruptions during the flood. 263,264 Either way, multiple impacts and volcanic eruptions would explain the evidence of the many iridium anomalies, shocked quartz grains, tektites, etc. found in the geological record. The rapid sedimentation during the flood would explain the observation that an iridium spike can be composed of multiple spikes or else spread over more than a thin layer of sediment. Uniformitarian geologists date such relatively thick layers as lasting hundreds of thousands of years, but within the flood an iridium-rich layer would be only an instant of time. Iridium-rich clay falling from the atmosphere would probably accumulate during temporary lulls in the flood. The clay could fall rapidly due to coagulation of particles. Accumulations of iridium-rich clay would be unlikely at the beginning of the flood, but more likely during the middle or end of the flood. This is because of the rapid erosion and sedimentation likely at the beginning of the flood. The fact that few extinctions occur right at the exact K/T boundary bodes ill for the meteorite theory. There are only 20 locations where dinosaurs are even close to the K/T boundary, as defined by an iridium anomaly or some other fossil criterion. In the case of the Cretaceous tertiary boundary, many people, even professionals, are very surprised to discover that there are only about 20 localities, most of which are in North America, that preserve the last days of the dinosaurs. 265 If most dinosaur extinctions are not associated with an IR anomaly, then how could impacts have been the main cause for the death of the dinosaurs? In a flood model, the problem of the survival of certain sensitive organisms across the K/T boundary is not a problem, mainly because that boundary is nothing special within the flood paradigm and probably is not synchronous. The new discovery of polar dinosaurs is a problem for the meteorite theory, but can be explained within the flood paradigm. 266 147 Is the K/T boundary synchronous? All the hypotheses of dinosaur extinction assume that many dinosaurs, ammonites, and other groups of organisms died out near the Cretaceous tertiary boundary. But is the K/T boundary, especially in relation to the extinction of the dinosaurs, a synchronous event worldwide within the flood? It probably is not even a synchronous event within the uniformitarian paradigm. The definition of the K/T boundary varies in different parts of the world, depending on whether the strata are presumed marine or terrestrial and depending upon which fossils are found in the strata. Defining a terrestrial or marine environment can be challenging and is normally based on the fossils. Many terrestrial fossils could have been buried in marine environments, especially within a flood paradigm and even within a uniformitarian paradigm. For instance, a classical late Cretaceous dinosaur site in eastern Montana is considered a terrestrial environment. However, shark remains are also found. Since dinosaurs and coal are abundant, the shark remains are relegated to having lived in a freshwater habitat. 267 Even though sharks are marine today and it seems impossible physiologically to assign extinct sharks to a freshwater environment. In the flood model, the observation of shark remains among dinosaurs would not be considered unusual, since one would expect that sharks would scavenge floating dinosaurs and occasionally end up entombed with dinosaurs. The K/T boundary was first defined as changes in fossil marine biota in rocks of northern Europe. 268 Nowadays, the fossil dating method is so refined that each microorganism, whether a diatom, foraminifer, coccolith or radiolarian, has its own boundary-defining criterion. Some have claimed the definition of the K/T boundary based on these microfossils is rather subjective. 269,270 And when the particular fossil is absent, a hiatus is presumed. 271 Even the classical marine K/T section with a large IR spike at Gubbio, Italy, is not without controversy. One geologist, after careful research, concluded that the section was a reworked Miocene turbidite. 272 This idea was published after the section had been touted as a K/T impact horizon. Nevertheless, Alvarez and Lowry 273 jumped all over this result and prevailed. It seems that reworking is mainly invoked to support the prevailing paradigm. The K/T boundary at Gubbio is of reversed paleomagnetism, so the K/T boundary in other areas also has to be reversely magnetized. However, at least one ocean core at the supposed K/T boundary was found to be normally magnetised. 274. These two K/T boundaries are thus probably not synchronous. For presumed terrestrial sediments, the boundary had been universally defined as the last appearance of the dinosaurs. Critics charged that Rigby and his colleagues didn't know exactly where the end of the Cretaceous was in the sediments that they were studying. After all, at 148 was pointed out the end of the Cretaceous was commonly recognized as the place where the last, youngest, dinosaur was preserved. 275. However, defining the K/T boundary on the basis of the youngest dinosaur fossil in a vertical section is a poor criterion, when only about 20 dinosaur localities from around the world are close to this boundary. 276. Defining the K/T boundary based on the last dinosaur is also a circular definition, since scientists claim that the dinosaurs only lived in the Mesozoic when the presence of a dinosaur automatically defines the strata as Mesozoic. For instance, dinosaur remains from France and India were discovered in what were considered tertiary strata. The strata were subsequently redefined as Cretaceous. 277,278. In eastern Montana, there is a controversy over whether dinosaurs lived into the tertiary. The K/T boundary in this area is defined by a floral change, but it is also associated with a weak iridium anomaly. An original report of a significant IR anomaly turned out to be contamination from a platinum ring worn by a technician preparing the samples for analysis. 279. Dinosaurs have been found above the defined K/T boundary from at least 6 sites, while ungulates, normally considered tertiary, have been found below the boundary. 280-282. Dinosaurs are also said to have survived well into the Paleocene in other areas, such as the tropics of India, the Pyrenees, Peru, and New Mexico. 283. Of course, the data from Montana have been strongly contested with the suggestion that reworking had mixed the fossils. 284. Reworking is a common mechanism for accounting for fossils in the wrong strata. 285,286. Preserving a semblance of order in the slow evolution of organisms with time. In spite of claims of reworking, Keith Rigby and his colleagues are sticking to their claim of tertiary dinosaurs. 287. Despite the merits of the various arguments, the circular reasoning is evident. Another K/T defining criterion for a presumed terrestrial environment is a change in certain pollen or spores. In eastern Montana, the K/T boundary is also defined as the base of the Z-coal layer. But some geologists believe this coal bed is diachronous, which would mean this definition of the K/T boundary is subjective. 288. The problem for defining the K/T boundary in eastern Montana is compounded due to the many coal beds and the scattered nature of the outcrops. All the many definitions of the K/T boundary are difficult to reconcile with each other into a worldwide synchronous time horizon within the uniformitarian paradigm. Even given the entire fund of techniques, methods, and principles of correlation extant, there was still, in the past decade, widespread uncertainty about correlating marine rocks of K/T boundary age with their continental contemporaries, even where both sections were richly fossiliferous, because the two sections were almost always mutually exclusive in time. Diagnostic fossils. 289. That the K/T boundary from various areas is asynchronous. Sen-Techj, Vol. 11, Number 2, 1997 is also admitted by Olson and Liu. Examination of recently reported K/P/T boundary sections indicates that the placement of the K/P boundary is based on equivocal criteria and that the boundary as placed is not synchronous. The conclusion that the K/P boundary in several U.S. Gulf Coast sections is complete and within a condensed section is simply the artifact of delineating the K/P boundary on disparate paleontologic datum planes and preservational bias of the microfossil assemblages 290 and in correlation of widely scattered outcrops. There is the common problem of lateral facies and fossil changes that can cause uncertainty even in local and regional correlations. Defining the K/T boundary as the last appearance of a particular fossil, a common procedure, is a dangerous exercise. This is because fossils have a habit of disappearing vertically at one location and reappearing at a higher level at another location. This has been labeled the Lazarus effect. 291,292 Even though the various fossil definitions of the K/T boundary are asynchronous, could an IR anomaly be used to define a synchronous K/T boundary, whether in a uniformitarian or a diluvial paradigm? The problem here is that there are many IR anomalies in the strata, and many of the spikes at the K/T boundary are weak or non-existent. In regard to dinosaur extinction, few dinosaur localities are even close to the defined K/T boundary, and even fewer are close to a significant IR anomaly. There is also the problem that the K/T boundary is sometimes defined by the IR spike 293-295, introducing an element of circular reasoning. Although paleontologists believe most of the age differences between various defining fossils are minor, it underscores the subjective nature of the process and some of the problems in choosing the K/T boundary. The various K/T boundary defining criteria, as viewed by uniformitarian scientists, are probably asynchronous. Therefore, creationists should not assume the K/T boundary and the extinction of the dinosaurs is a synchronous event within the flood. Summary and conclusions. Despite the many theories on dinosaur extinction, including the currently popular meteorite impact theory, the demise of the dinosaurs is still unexplained. Wherever dinosaur bones are unearthed, the evidence predominantly suggests catastrophic entombment by water, sometimes by clearly marine water. Just the burial and fossilization of such massive hulks as the large dinosaurs indicates catastrophic action. There is also evidence that some dinosaurs were rapidly buried in at least regional debris flows. The large dinosaur bone beds especially indicate a major catastrophe. Some of these bone beds represent the remains of one dinosaur species, an unusual taphonomic condition. Babies and young juveniles are almost entirely missing as fossils, another enigmatic occurrence for those who assume uniformitarianism. Billions of dinosaur tracks have recently been discovered, and these provide further evidence for unusual, stressful conditions. For instance, the tracks do not traverse hills, they are practically always orientated in a straight line. There are very few tracks of baby dinosaurs, and some dinosaurs that may have been poor swimmers are nearly absent. It is suggested that dinosaur tracks and remains could have occurred during temporary exposure of sediments during the first half of the flood. Dinosaur eggs, nests, and babies at first glance appear to contradict the hypothesis of briefly exposed sediments during the flood. However, many unknowns still surround this fascinating evidence of in situ dinosaur activity. The volcanic and meteorite theories for dinosaur extinction have both supportive and contrary data. The data from these theories can be fitted into a flood model, a model in which the dinosaurs perished at different times within the first 150 days. Acknowledgements. I appreciate and seek out discussion and input from other creationists. I thank Dr. Andrew Snelling and Mr. Peter Klevberg for reviewing an earlier draft of the manuscript. I benefited from personal discussions with Dr. Robert Brown, Mr. Roy Holt and Mr. John Woodmore App, and from the comments of an anonymous reviewer. References 1. Weishampel, D.B., 1991. Dinosaurian distribution. In The Dinosauria, D.B. Weishampel, P. Dodson and H. Osmolska, eds. University of California Press, Los Angeles, pages 63 to 139. 2 Hammer, W. R. and Hickerson, W. J., 1994. A crested theropod dinosaur from Antarctica. Science, 264:828-830. 3 Colbert, E. H., 1964. Dinosaurs of the Arctic. Natural History, 73, 420-23. 4 Weishampel, Ref 1, p. 139. 5 Ord, M.J., 1995. Polar Dinosaurs and the Genesis Flood. Creation Research Society Quarterly, 32:47-56. 6 Browers, E. M., Clemens, W. A., Spicer, R. A. Ager T. A., Carter, L. D. and Slitter, W. V., 1987. Dinosaurs on the North Slope, Alaska, High Latitude, Latest Cretaceous Environments. Science, 237:1608-1610. 7 Parrish, J. M., Parrish, J. T., Hutchison, J. H. and Spicer, R. A., 1987. Late Cretaceous vertebrate fossils from the North Slope of Alaska and implications for dinosaur ecology. Palaos, 2:377-389. 8 Clemens, W. A. and Nelms, L. G., 1993. Paleoecological implications of Alaskan terrestrial vertebrate fauna in latest Cretaceous time at high paleolatitudes. Geology, 21:503-506. 9 Paul, G. S., 1988. Physiological, migrational, climatological, geophysical, survival, and evolutionary implications of Cretaceous polar dinosaurs. Journal of Paleontology, 62:640-652. 10 Benton, M. J., 1991. Polar Dinosaurs and Ancient Climates. Trends in Ecology and Evolution, 6, L. 2830. 11 Fastovsky, D. E. and Weishampel, D. B., 1996. The Evolution and Extinction of the Dinosaurs, Cambridge University Press, London, p. 11. 12 Parrish et al., Ref 7. 13 Colbert, Ref 3. Sen Techj, Vol. 11, No. 2, 1997 149-14. Gillette, D. D. and Lockley, M. G., eds. 1989. Dinosaurs Tracks and Traces, Cambridge University Press, London. 15 Lockley, M., 1991. Tracking Dinosaurs: A New Look at an Ancient World, Cambridge University Press, London. 16 Lockley, M., and Hunt, A. P., 1995. Dinosaur Tracks and Other Fossil Footprints of the Western United States, Columbia University Press, New York. 17 Curry, P. J., 1996. The Great Dinosaur Egg Hunt. National Geographic, 189, 596-111. 18 Sands, J.L., Moratala, J.J., Diaz Molina, M., Lopez Martinez, N., Callan, O. and Vianilio, M., 1995. Dinosaur nests at the seashore. Nature, 376:731-732. 19 Anonymous, 1996. Dinosaurs packed like sardines. Discover, 17, 225. 20 Anonymous, 1996. Did dinosaurs need mother love? Science News, 149:315. 21 Horner, J.R. and Makila, R. 1979. Nest of juveniles provides evidence of family structure among dinosaurs. Nature, 282:296-298. 22 Horner, J.R., 1984. The nesting behavior of dinosaurs. Scientific American, 250, 130-137. 23 Zique, Z, 1994. Dinosaur eggs in China, on the structure and evolution of eggshells. In Dinosaur Eggs and Babies, K. Carpenter, K. F. Hirsch and J. R. Horner, eds. Cambridge University Press, London, p. 197. 24 Donovan, S.K., 1989. Paleontological criteria for the recognition of mass extinction. In Mass Extinctions, Processes and Evidence, S.K. Donovan, ed., Columbia University Press, New York, pages 19-36. 25 Glenn, W., 1994. How Science Works in the Debates. In The Mass Extinction Debates, How Science Works in a Crisis, W. Glenn, ed., Stanford University Press, Stanford, California, pages 50, 60. 26 Donovan, S.K., 1989. Introduction. In Mass Extinctions, Processes and Evidence, S.K. Donovan, ed., Columbia University Press, New York, p. 12. 27 Irwin, D.H., 1996. The Mother of Mass Extinctions. Scientific American, 275, L. 72-78. 28 Maxwell, W.D., 1989. The End Permian Mass Extinction. In Mass Extinctions, Processes and Evidence, S.K. Donovan, ed., Columbia University Press, New York, p. 152. 29 Ord, M.J., 1997. Ancient Ice Ages or Gigantic Submarine Slides. Creation Research Society Books, Chino Valley, Arizona. 30 Kerr, R.A., 1996. A Shocking View of the Permo-Triassic. Science, 274:1080. 31 Sepkoski, Jr., J.J., 1990. A Taxonomic Structure of Periodic Extinction. In Global Catastrophes in Earth History, an interdisciplinary conference on impacts, volcanism, and mass mortality, V. L. Sharpton and P. D. Ward, eds. Special Paper 247, Geological Society of America, Boulder, Colorado, pages 33-44. 32 Perlmutter, S. Muller, R.A., Pennypacker, D.R., Smith, C.K., Wang, L.P., White, S. and Yang, H.S. 1990. A Search for Nemesis, Current Status and Review of History. In Global Catastrophes in Earth History, an interdisciplinary conference on impacts, volcanism, and mass mortality, V. L. Sharpton and P. D. Ward, eds. Special Paper 247, Geological Society of America, Boulder, Colorado, pages 87 to 92. 33 Orth, C.J., 1989. Geochemistry of the Bioevent Horizons. In Mass Extinctions, Processes and Evidence, S. K. Donovan, ed., Columbia University Press, New York, p. 39. 34 Donovan, Ref 24, p. 28. 35 Ord M.J., 1985. Ice Ages, The Mysteries Solved? Part 3, Paleomagnetic Stratigraphy and Data Manipulation. Creation Research Society Quarterly, 21:178 179-36. Cherig, A. 1979. A New Look at the Dinosaurs, Mayflower Books, New York. 37 Cherig, A. 1983. A New Look at the Dinosaurs, Facts on File, Inc., New York, pages 149 to 151. 38 Backer, R.T., 1986. The Dinosaur Heresies: New Theories Unlocking the Mystery of the Dinosaurs and Their Extinctions, Kensington Publishing Co., New York, pages 425 to 444. 39 Norman, D. 1991. Dinosaur, Prentice Hall, New York, pages 146 to 159. 40 Fastovsky and Weishampel, Ref 11, pages 387 to 429. 41 Benton, M.J., 1990. Scientific Methodologies in Collision: The History of the Study of the Extinction of the Dinosaurs. Evolutionary Biology, 24:371 400. 150-42. Cherig, Ref 37, p. 150. 43 Erickson, E. 1968. Air-ocean ice cap interactions in relation to climatic fluctuations and glaciation cycles. In Causes of Climatic Change, J. M. Mitchell, Jr., ed., Meteorological Monographs 8, 30, American Meteorological Society, Boston, p. 68. 44 Charlesworth, J.K., 1957. The Quaternary Era, Edward Arnold, London, p. 1532. 45 Hallam, A. 1979. The End of the Cretaceous. Nature, 281:430-431. 46 Hoffman, A. 1989. Changing Paleontological Views on Mass Extinction Phenomena. In Mass Extinctions, Processes and Evidence, S. K. Donovan, ed., Columbia University Press, New York, p. 4. 47 Gartner, S., and McGurk, J. P., 1979. Terminal Cretaceous Extinction Scenario for a Catastrophe. Science, 206:1272-1276. 48 Hallam, Ref 45. 49 Kirkland, J.I., 1994. Predation of dinosaur nests by terrestrial crocodilians. In Dinosaur Eggs and Babies, K. Carpenter, K. F. Hirsch and J. R. Horner, eds. Cambridge University Press, London, p. 124. 50 Cherig, Ref 36. 51 Gribben, J. 1996. Did cancer kill the dinosaurs? New Scientist, 149 2012 17. 52 Anonymous, 1996. Did neutrinos do in the dinosaurs? Science, 271:601. 53 Plummer J. 1995. Death by virus. Discover, 16, 1014. 54 Emmanuel, K.A., Spear, K., Rotuno, R., Shrivastava, R. and Molina, M. 1995. Hypercanes, a possible link in global extinction scenarios. Journal of Geophysical Research, 100, D7 13755 to 13765. 55 Hecht, J. 1995. Did storms land the dinosaurs in hot water? New Scientist, 145, 1963-16. 56 Alvarez, L.W., Alvarez, W., Acero, F., and Michel, H.V., 1980. Extraterrestrial cause for the Cretaceous Tertiary extinction. Science, 208:1095-1108. 57 Emiliani, C., Krauss, E. B. and Shoemaker, E. M., 1981. Sudden dearth at the end of the Mesozoic. Earth and Planetary Science Letters, 55:317-334. 58 Orth, C. J., Gilmore, J. S., Knight, J. D., Pillmore, C. L. Chudy, R. H. and Fassett, J. E., 1981. An iridium abundance anomaly at the palynological Cretaceous Tertiary boundary in northern New Mexico. Science 214:1341-1343. 59 Alvarez, L.W., 1983. Experimental evidence that an asteroid impact led to the extinction of many species 65 million years ago. Proceedings of the National Academy of Science, 80:627-642. 60 Lerbeek-Moe, J. F., Sweet, A. R. and St. Louis, R. M., 1987. The relationship between the iridium anomaly and palynological floral events at 3 Cretaceous Tertiary boundary localities in western Canada. Geological Society of America Bulletin, 99:325-330. 61 Fastovsky and Weiss-Hampel, Ref 11, p. 405. 62 Shoemaker, E. M., 1983. Asteroid and Comet Bombardment of the Earth. Annual Review of Earth and Planetary Science, 11:461-494. 63 Pollock, J. B. Toon, O. B., Ackerman T. P., McKay, C. P. and Turco, R. P., 1983. Environmental effects of an impact-generated dust cloud, implications for the Cretaceous Tertiary extinctions. Science, 219, 287-289. 64 Boer, B.F., Ford, E.E., Modreski, P.J. and Triplehorn, D.M., 1984. Mineralogic evidence for an impact event at the Cretaceous-Tertiary boundary. Science, 224:867-869. 65 Boer, B.F., Modreski, P.J. and Ford, E.E., 1987. Shocked quartz in the Cretaceous-Tertiary boundary clays, evidence for a global distribution. Science, 236:705-709. 66 Orth etal, REF 58. 67 Wang, K., Geldsetzer, HHJ and Chatterton, BDE, 1994. A late Devonian extraterrestrial impact and extinction in eastern Gondwana, geochemical, sedimentological, and faunal evidence. In Large Meteorite Impacts and Planetary Evolution, B. O. Dressier, RAF Grieve and V. L. Sharpton, eds. Special Paper 293, Geological Society of America, Boulder, Colorado, p. 114. 68 Wolbach, W.S., Gilmore, I. and Anders, E., 1990. Major wildfires at the Cretaceous/Tertiary boundary. In Global Catastrophes in Earth History, an interdisciplinary conference on impacts, volcanism, and mass mortality, V. L. Sharpton and P. D. Ward, eds. Special Paper 247, Geological Society of America, Boulder, Colorado, pages 391 to 400. 69 Ganapathy, R. 1980. A major meteorite impact on the Earth. 65 million Center TECHJ, Vol. 11, Number 2, 1997.